What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Probably Fishing. It is officially, I believe, 3-4 days, maybe 5, after the official start of spring here in Maine, or everywhere, I guess, but the official start of spring. And this is what the past 2 days has looked like for us in Maine for spring. So, that being said, the fishing is null and void at the moment, but today we are going to dive into a little bit of how to rig some stuff up. And we're talking about the Texas rig today. So guys, if you like this type of content, make sure you stick around, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this rig and show you how to put it together. So, see you in a minute. All right, guys. So, today we're discussing the Texas rig, which is one of the most universally used rigs in bass fishing or predator fishing, if you will. Pike, bass, pickerel, whatever, you know. It is one of the most versatile and most worldwide used rigs in any fisherman's, you know, loadout, if you will. But why do we use a Texas rig, first of all? The reason we use a Texas rig, it's weedless. So it is going to get through those rocks, through the sticks, through the weeds, through the lily pads. Fish like to hang out in. Fish love hanging out in those things, and you need something that you can throw in there and not get snug up. And a Texas rig will do that beautifully. Basically, you can use it in any type of waterway. You can use it in a river. You can use it in a pond. You can use it in a big lake, small lake, whatever. You know, the Texas rig can be used in almost any type of waterway where you need to get into, you know, a weeded spot, lily pads, like I said, rocks, down to trees. The Texas rig is going to be your most versatile bait for punching into those places. So let's go over some of the components that you're going to need to set up a Texas rig. Number one, you're going to need, boom, your hooks. And the type of hooks you're going to want are these bad boys right here. This is a EWG hook, which stands for extra wide gap hook. Let me hold it like that so you can see all the curves on this little beauty. And the extra wide gap is going to be this area right here. Instead of a straight shaft down, it curves. It makes a big gap. That's why they call it EWG hook. You're also going to need yourself a soft plastic of your choice. So today, just to show you what we're doing here, we're going to go with this Senko worm. But you can use the Texas rig on a Senko worm. You can use it on a soft plastic craw, a speed worm, oh god, creature baits, lizards. You name it, you can basically use it on it. Obviously, like, so say this is cut in half, that's your Ned rig. You can use it on there. You'd have to use a very small hook, but I wouldn't recommend it. You're going to want something a little longer that has a little bit of play in it. That's if you're doing weightless. All you need is those two things, your EWG hook and your bait. If you want to do a weighted or a pegged weighted Texas rig, you're going to need yourself some bullet weights. Here, let me bust one of these bad boys out so you can see what they look like if you've never seen one. I have these bronze ones. They come in, a lot of people use tungsten. I got these cheap, so I just used them. They come in steel, lead, if you're allowed to use lead where you are. We're not here. But I got this little bronze bullet weight. That's going to slide right on your line. And I got this big pack here. They come in different weights. They also, the hooks, let me show you this real quick before we move on. Your hooks will come in different sizes too. These are a 3/0. Depending on what bait you're using, you're going to want certain length hooks. Also, if you wanted to do a pegged weighted Texas rig, you're going to want to grab some of these. These are bobber stops. I got bulk because it was cheaper. But basically, these are going to go in front of your bullet weight to stop your bullet weight from moving up and down your line. So they're pegged, if you will. Which is going to allow that bait to zoom down to the bottom. You can also do it without the peg, which is going to allow the weight to go down first on your line, and then your bait will follow, which will make it a little slower. I personally prefer, with doing a Senko or something like that, weightless. I don't put any weight. The weights I use for, like, if I'm going to use a speed worm or something I'm going to be cranking back in. You know, it gives it that little extra weight to not bring it out of the water. It keeps it down low, but anyways. All right, let's see. How do you work one of these bad boys? You're going to do what's called the 10 and 2 method. So, yeah, let's see if we can get this rod into the shot. Might be a little too big, but all right. So the 10 and 2 method, you're gonna cast your bait out, okay? And you're gonna have, I'm just gonna hold it like this for now, but you're gonna have your rod at 10 o'clock basically, right? You're gonna let that bait fall down into the water column until it hits, right? And then you're gonna bring it up to 12, and that's gonna lift your bait up in the water, right? And you're gonna let it go back down, boom, 10 and 12, over and over again, all while slowly, you know, giving it a couple of cranks here and there to keep that line from getting all tangled up. But, you know, so that's the 10 and 12 method. That's how you're going to work this this bait. If you're using with a speed worm, you have a speed worm, something with a flipper on the end of it, or a paddle tail, if you will, like I have set up here. Come on. So if you have a paddle tail or something, obviously you're not going to use that. You can use that 10 and 12 method. But if you're trying to get a reaction bite or a chasing bite, you're going to throw it out there and you're just going to crank it in. And then they'll come after it. The hook set for one of these bad boys, you've heard the term hammering it. That comes from these. So you're going to want to reel that line in tight and hammer that sucker home, because this is going to have to tear out of this plastic for you to hook that fish. And I'll show you why in just a second here. But so again, a couple different ways you can rig it up, but we're going to move on to show you how to rig this thing up. We're going to do the weightless version. I have a weighted version already hooked onto my, I'm going to move you closer here, onto my rod here. I'll show you that all rigged up, but we're going to show you how to actually rig this up now. So you're going to start with your EWG hook, right? And your bait. You're going to want to find, so if we're using a Senko worm that has one of those tipped tails and then a flat top, you're going to want to go to the flat top, okay? Let me see if I can get in close here without skewing the camera. All right, so you're going to want to take this point of your hook right here. Oh, goodness, I'm throwing it. Let's try that again. Don't mind my shaky hands. You're going to want to take the point of that hook and you're going to want to put it in the top of your Senko. My cat's over there. And you're going to want to push it down till you get to that first bend in your hook, okay? Then, what you're going to want to do, so it's going to look like this, okay? Hello, kitty. What are you doing down there? You can't be coming up here to play with hooks. All right, so then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pop that hook boop, out like that. All right, so it's going to have your hook kind of angled that way. And then you're going to proceed to follow the hook through, okay? So you're going to want to push it all the way through that bait. Bring it all the way down till you get to that second curve in your hook, right? Then you're going to want to take your hook and you're going to want to twist it. And it's going to pop that other curve out like that, okay? So now your hook's going to look like this. This is the point where you're going to want to take that hook and you're going to line it up with your bait like so, okay? Now you see where this other, or this first curve that we started with is lined up with the bait. You're going to want to pinch your bait right there to mark it, okay? And you're going to bend this down. Cat, don't do that. You're going to fall. My cat is stupid. All right, anyways, and we're going to put that hook, it came through, hold on. I was watching the cat. There we go. And we're going to put that hook through that pinch spot all the way through the bait, okay? I've kind of messed it up here because I was watching the cat. Hold on. Don't mind me, guys. I'm distracted while I'm trying to teach you stuff. Okay. There we go. So we put it through that pinched part of the worm, all right? So now your hook is in your worm. Now the most important part that we're going to do is called exposing, okay? This is where you're going to find where the hook point is. Again, start where the hook point is. See if I can get it closer there. And you're going to pinch that soft bait right where that hook point is. You're going to pull it up just a little bit, and you're going to stick the end of that hook into the soft bait, just like that. And what that does, it makes your Texas rig weedless. So now, see, I can run my finger over this, and I'm not getting hooked, right? That's because it is inside the back of that soft bait. Just the tip is inside the back of that soft bait. So it'll stop it from catching onto weeds. It'll stop it from catching onto your sticks, all that stuff. And what happens is when you're working this bait in the water, the fish is going to come along. He's going to eat your bait, right? And this is where the hammering at home part comes in, because what's going to happen is you're going to want to break. Let me get close here. You're going to want to be able to break that plastic and set that hook into the fish's mouth. And that's how you hook them on. That's how it's a fish on, boys and girls. So you got to break that plastic and hook them in the mouth. That's where the hammering comes in. So that is a weightless Texas rig, the weighted version. Now, before I show you guys this, okay, a lot of you are going to drill me in the comments. I use a swivel on all my stuff because that's just how I was taught. That's how I like to do it. It allows me to switch baits in and out. I understand that if I hook into something big and I don't work my drag right, it's going to bend the swivel out. I get it. I'm going to lose the fish. But that's just how I do things. So don't hammer me in the comments here. Too bad. You're going to see this hooked up to a swivel. I'm sorry. I know. All you fishing purists, I get it. Don't use the swivel. But that's just what I do. All right. So as you can see, again, ignore the swivel. We have a pegged weight, right? So see how that weight's not going anywhere? Now, if I move that peg, we'll say that peg's not there. See how it's going to free float on the line there? So that is your weighted Texas rig. And again, you can use this with any type of soft bait. You could do a weighted Texas rig with one of these. It's going to allow that to sit up in the water like this. That tail's going to move around. Good stuff. It's going to allow you to bounce it off the bottom a lot better than it would with a weightless. Again, set up the same way. We Texpose it in the back. I'm not going to do it because I haven't used this plastic yet and I don't want to rip it. But now normally, for you, those of you who do not use a swivel, which is a lot of you, this weight right here is actually going to be up against the hook, which is allow that bait to, sit nose first. But again, I use a swivel so I can switch baits in and out real quick. And I just, again, I know I'm stupid. Don't hammer me, but that's just how I do it. So this weight will actually be down at the hook. But yeah, that is a weighted Texas rig right there. And you can throw these on everything from a spinning rod. You can throw them on your bait caster. If you use a spin cast, you can definitely throw them on a spin cast. They're gonna zoom on a spin cast, I'll tell you that. But yeah, you can basically throw them on any type of rod setup that you have. You don't really have to have a certain type of rod setup. I prefer the spinning rod for throwing stuff like that, just because that's how I've always done it. I basically use bait casters for hard baits, which I know is crazy, but that's just what I do. So anyways, guys, that is the Texas rig. That's how you set it up. That's how you use it. And I hope you utilize that this upcoming fishing season and catch yourself some fish if you haven't tried it yet. We're going to do more videos like this in the upcoming weeks until that crap out there melts and we're able to get out and do some actual fishing for you guys. So if you like this type of content, make sure you like, share, subscribe. And as always, guys, if they ever wonder where you are, you look them dead in the eye and you tell them, well, I'm probably fishing. See you guys next time.